Ed Willis, happy Friday. We used to do this silly thing back when life was normal that sometimes on Fridays people would wear jerseys. I've had a lot of
Oh,
comments on this one
see,
lately, so
had I
yeah.
known, I've just got my keep Portland weird T-shirt on. So
Okay,
it is a jersey in its own way.
yeah, can you guess who this is?
Well, all I see is powder blue, and it looks like I'm going to go with Earl Campbell.
Yes, you're right. Number 34.
Okay,
We're gonna say.
wow, that was just that was a good one, good one.
Yeah.
Still remember there was over the course, it was when I was going to Carleton, it was over the course of 3 years. It would have been four had I finished and got a degree, but that's another story for another time. But we went to the same bar to watch Monday Night Football, all
Yeah,
during the late 70s. And there's a couple of games, but that one where he scored the three touchdowns against Pittsburgh, and you
unbelievable.
still see it. It's absolutely amazing.
There've been, I think it was his birthday this week. There's a bunch of stuff going around social media about him just absolutely trucking players. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll give you a little bit of it. There you go. A little bit
No,
of it.
that 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 brings it back. It
There we go.
really does. It brings it to life.
Well, and also the groaning as I stood up brings back to what Campbell's like now, and he was actually an athlete once.
Actually, yeah, I couldn't hear what you said from the knees cracking.
All right. Well, speaking to that, like behemoths from the past, let's talk a little
Mm,
bit about your interview with Jim Sandlak. I find Sandlak to be one of those fascinating Canuck figures as you're revisiting some of them. Did that great piece on Kurt Ridley last week. You know, we always talk about the Cam Neely trade, and it's
yeah.
so funny how that really did, in hindsight, that impacted on Jim Sandlak. They were terrified in some ways, and I know you've written this. Sandlak was the reason that felt they were able to give up on Neely, and yet they were terrified of what Sandlak could become by, I don't want to say hanging on to him too long, but he just didn't seem to fit here.
Yeah, well, no, it's there are so many levels to this story, and that's certainly one of them. And you can even project forward. I mean, like, so is Jake Virtanen Jim Sandlak, or is he something
Cam
in
Neely.
between?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean that kind of plays out because this really is kind of a big moment in Canucks history, and I'll just sort of kind of try and walk you through it as quickly as I can. There were a couple of issues in play, and it seemed to be the biggest was Tom Watt never thought Cam Neely would amount to anything more than kind of a third line plugger, and they really thought Sandlak was going to be a star. And based on his junior career and what he did at the World Junior, you can sort of get that. So based on that, they wanted to go out and grab a number one center, and Barry Peterson, the kid with British Columbia ties, his contract was expiring. So this is so Canucks like though. They go to Boston and go, oh, we're going to sign Barry Peterson, like really stealthy, right? And the compensation rules were so onerous at that time. It was going to cost them a first round draft pick and a player on the roster. I think they could protect 4 or 5 or 6 players or whatever it was. So as it turns out, Boston has this Western scout named Bart Bradley, who's absolutely in love with Neely as a player, and he's in Sinden's ear, going, "Look, do the trade and make sure you get Cam Neely." And then again, the crafty old Canucks, and they're led. Jack Gordon is the GM, and Watt is the head coach and assistant GM. Insist that the first round draft pick go the following year because Barry Peterson is going to turn them into a winner right away, of course. So they do the deal, and I think we all know what happened next. What happens with Neely? The pick turns out to be third overall, which turns into Glenn Wesley, who plays about 1,000 games in Boston. Then they flip him to Hartford, and get 3 first rounders for him. And when you follow the trade, like Milan Lucic is actually involved. It's staggering
Oh,
how much they've lived off this thing. And poor Jim Sandlak. I mean, he actually he played 11 seasons in the NHL. He had 120-goal year. He had a couple of high points. He just wasn't the star he was projected to be. But I'm sorry, and I know I'm being long-winded here, but really good guy, really personable, very honest about his career, honest about everything that happened to him in Vancouver. He was really a delight to talk to.